Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another 10-minute review. It's been a while, I've been busy, but I am back. Now, in this animation, we have something really nice. Samus, Metroid, really cool. First in the channel, and I'm really looking forward to actually reviewing it. This one is by Breaks2. He's handled on my Discord server, and I'm looking forward to actually reviewing it. It's the first time they're reviewing an animation from Breaks2, and I think it's going to be really nice for you guys to actually see it, and from my perspective on the things that work, things that don't, and what needs to be improved. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so welcome. If you guys are new here, my name is Harvey Newman, and I like to share my passion for animation and games development here in this channel with all of you. Now, this segment is about reviewing animations from animators, future animators, current animators, experienced animators in my Discord server. They submit their animations that they've worked incredibly hard, and then I pick at random one animation that I think has a lot of potential, and then I review it here on the channel, and I say about the positives, the negatives, what needs to be improved, in order to actually kind of like, give back to the community, because after all, the animation community is absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock, and we're going to start reviewing this, and start. Okay, so let's press play and see what do we have. Cool. So running and then transforming into that ball, the iconic ball from Metroid, and then just like aiming some more, which is really cool. So things that I like, this is for Stu, things that I like. So you can see here there's some annotations already from some of our animators in our channel. So things that you can improve on, things like arcs and fingers and where you should be looking for, and betterment of poses and legs and stuff like that. And I think those are all great. I'm going to be talking more about the animation overall. So the things that I like to is the fact that you basically start the character off screen, which is nice because me as an audience, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, Sam is here. I didn't expect that. So now I'm looking at it and like, what is he going to do next? Or she going to do next? And then transforms into a ball, rolls through an object, and then continues. So that's really cool. I like the idea overall. I like the simplicity of the idea overall. And the character has, character, which is nice. Now, everybody knows this. And one of the first things that I have to tell you is that when people are familiar with a character, with a, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's Hang, Avatar, or Metroid, or Mario, they expect to see the character move in a certain way. So you kind of almost have double whammy, because if you animate a character that is not known, someone vanilla, then you can basically do whatever you want. But if you animate a character that is known, then you have to kind of like obey the rules of their universe in a way, if that makes sense. So Samus moves in a certain way in Metroid and has a certain personality in the games. So for you to actually study those things before you get into animation is definitely a must. Now, I feel like you get it because the run cycle and the whole like transforming into a ball feels very much exactly like the game. So I feel like you've done your research, which is really nice. Now, the thing that you have to infuse into these shots, even though people expect you to animate it in a certain way, it's your own take of this character. And the way I like to think about it is that if I'm going to animate Samus in Metroid, then I need to actually come up with an idea that perhaps Nintendo hasn't come up with yet. Now, Metroid has been going on for quite a while now. There's been lots of ideas being done on different games. Doesn't matter if it's 2D side scrollers or 3Ds or first person, whatever it is. You actually have many ideas already being made. So you need to come up with something that is unique, something that is your own, something that makes it stand out. And this is where I want to go with this, because I feel like at the moment you have a walk cycle, a run cycle, which is really nice, and you have the transformation into a ball, which is really nice. But one of the things that I think is missing here is like maybe she is running away from something. If she's running away from something, what is it? And you don't even have to show it, but at the moment it feels very much like she's just running towards the target and she's transforming, and then she's transforming back, right? Because you don't give her context, when she actually kind of like rolls and shows up again, it feels very much like is slightly out of context. I understand that she's transforming and then she's transforming back, and now she's now looking for enemies perhaps as soon as she actually comes out of the ball form. However, you need to, if you're actually gonna go that route, you need to give her like some either goal or a hint to the audience that she's about to run into a dangerous area, right? Into a problematic area. At the moment, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like she's just running blasé, and then basically she's transforming into a ball, and now she's pointing at it. And all these things she does. But for example, if you were to infuse here as she's running forward, that she's looking back at where she's coming from, right? That automatically means somebody's chasing her, right? Just having that look back will be enough for you to have that, like, what's going on. Somebody's after her, right? And then when she rolls, if she's actually if she transforms back and then points backwards, right? And then there's nobody coming, and then points forwards, like looking for somebody else in front of her, automatically you already gave like a reason for her to be running away from something. And then you also, as soon as she transforms back into a ball, the fact that she's aiming backwards like reaffirms that idea that she's running from something, and now she's lost them, right? So it's no longer there when she points backwards, and now she's going, okay, so there's nobody, it's good, I'm clear. Now I'm going to point forwards to see if there's anybody here that is dangerous. Nobody? Okay, cool. Now in that case, I'm going to run away from this position, but I'm going to be careful pointing my weapon up. So those are the kind of things that you have to think about when you start to kind of like craft your shots, because having that idea behind, or that want, and the motivation of the character behind the movement is absolutely the most essential thing that you can do. And it makes your shots have that little extra bit of polish, right? Because it gets the characters to think about something. So that's really, really cool. Now, when it comes to the animation itself, I think you have a nice run cycle. I feel like it's very much like the game, and it looks really, really cool, right? I don't think there's much that you should change. I think there's lots of stuff that you can do when it comes to kind of like improving your arcs and making sure that things are a bit more pushed. But overall, I think it works. Nothing kind of like makes me feel like this is wrong. I do think that you can actually add more to your transitions, right? So I think that having this ball move, which is really nice in transforming into this, I think having this one frame is nice. But I do think that while you're running, right, maybe actually having your own take on the ball transformation. Maybe instead of actually just running forward and then going into a roll and going into a ball, which is the most straightforward way of doing it, maybe when she runs forward, maybe she pirouettes around and then she goes into that ball form, right? Like infusing some originality, some kind of like twists to the formula helps a lot, because people know that Samus actually turns into this ball, but perhaps they haven't seen your way of actually, getting the transformation really, really cool. It's almost like, I don't know if you remember this, or maybe it's because I'm old, but there was the cartoons, Transformers, and how they made the transformation, and then there was the films, the movies, right? And there was a massive leap from one to the other, and that was because they just kind of like most likely iterated a bunch on how the Transformers can be as badass as possible, transforming into these cars or transforming back from cars to being Transformers. So if you watch the cartoons from like 1980s, it was super simple. The noise made all the work, and it was just like this. But what you saw in the animation, it was like this two move of like, then that's it. It was gone. Now I'm an airplane. So what you need to do is basically elevate things as much as possible, right? So how can you make that Samus transformation be as badass as possible? I think there's a massive opportunity there that you're missing. And then on here, on the ball, I do think that same thing. Like at the moment, she just transforms and immediately goes into a straight line ball, right? I think that there's opportunity for you, like as she's jumping and falling, maybe get that ball to go a little bit bouncing, right? Because then once again, given the fact that as an animator, we need to actually have the bouncing ball as one of the first exercises, and it's something that happens very often. You can showcase what type of ball this is. So in this case, most likely like a bowling ball. So if you'll study bowling balls to see how much they bounce when they hit the floor from a certain height, you realize they don't just stay static on the floor. They have a little bit of bounce and then they keep going, right? So selling that bounce will help you a ton, right? And then also the spacing that you have. At the moment, the translation of the ball, as soon as it starts translating, it's even, right? As you go through, it's just, it's completely even. Now, because you have momentum, the ball not only would bounce, but most likely would start like rotating really fast and then slow down as you get to the end, right? So that might give you a little extra oomph to the ball, if that makes sense. By the time you actually get to this place here, the ball is perhaps slowing down a little bit more because obviously Samus is controlling it, and this is at the moment that she actually goes into out of ball form and back into Samus. Now, when you transform back into Samus, once again, you have another opportunity for you to actually have a really cool transformation from ball to Samus. And I'm not talking about how the transformation happens. I'm talking about how maybe she jumps out of that ball into getting into position, right? Instead of just kind of like rolling off. Or maybe if she rolls off, maybe as soon as she actually kind of like is on her feet, she has the sense of momentum to go forward. Oh, and 10 minutes are done. Had too much fun with this. So, Stu, you've done a great job on this animation. I'll stop it there, but hopefully that gives you enough information for you to kind of like, improve your animation and actually make it even more awesome, because I think you have the right idea. It's a solid idea. I think you need to actually massage it a little bit more to kind of like extract as much entertainment from it as possible. Now, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing if you haven't so far. Also, press the like button. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and comment down below about what you thought, how maybe you see things being better. Helps too out as well by leaving a comment down below. And to all my Patreons that support me every month, thank you so much. Highly appreciate it. Go and check out my Patreon if you haven't so far. And until next week, stay safe, stay well. Peace.